come to the throne of your glory this morning, and I ask you to bless each and every one of the participants here. As I open my mouth to share, give words of wisdom and for understanding of everything that I share today to the participants, so they will be helpful to themselves and for all of us here. I give you all the people to give them bless each and every one of the people that are here, and wherever their families are, also protect and be with their families wherever they are. Watch over us today. And we also pray for all people that are involved and affected by the coronavirus, that you are the ultimate healer, will provide healing and rest for all the frontline workers today. In your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Liz.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'll start off my presentation with the tribute to the elders, because our elders are our teachers. They are history carriers. They help us to develop our family trees. They provide us with wisdom and teachings, and let us know our history throughout our lives, our family trees, our relations, our connections. They're the carriers of that they share with us, and storytellers. And so I'm going to do the tribute to the elders first. These are the things that each of us were assigned in throughout our training, to develop how we recognize our elders as our first teachers and carriers of our history and traditions and values. So these are some of the things that I shared with the group after our trainings. So I'll add to some of them because I know there's a lot of things that we need to honor and respect our elders. The way I did my presentation to the tributes to the elders, number one is thank you for your stories. You help me to laugh and not to take life so seriously. In their stories, a lot of times their stories are funny, serious, or when I know that when I was growing as a small child, when I was with my grandparents and my family together, every evening we'd gather together because we knew that my grandfather would tell stories. So we often, even adults, children, everybody, after dinner, we'd get together and my grandfather would tell stories of what happened in the past in their lives, how they took care of each other, how they took care of even people, even community member that's gotten into trouble, how they took care of that person to correct themselves and be invited back into the community, with their help of elders and other people. So they are they tell stories. Their stories have life. Their stories bring about laughter. Their stories keep us together. And sometimes their stories are, for us younger generation, their stories help us not to go out in the evening, because maybe one of the stories our grandfather and the elders told was, if you go out in the evening and it's dark and you try to come in, and you feel around for the doorknob, you might take a hand, and those things, those kinds of things, they were like, they kept us in. They help us to not stay out at nights, come home early. Curfew types of stories that they used to tell, scary stories. So their stories were entertaining. Sometimes they make us laugh, sometimes they make us scared, but they're the ones that told about, like, the stories. It kept our family together. Thank you for the values you gave me. A necklace and a rod to live a good life. They're values that they passed on to us younger generation, even to our parents. The values they passed on to us, they're like necklaces or rods for us, uh, to help ourselves and to help our neighbors and our families. You know, our values are to take care of each other. So these were passed on by our elders to us, so that, um, because they've lived through, um, their lives with the values that they had in mind, and they told it to their children and grandchildren, so that everyone knew what these values were. They're like necklaces for us to live a good life. There are rods to do good in our lives, with the help of these values. If we have these values here within us, they help us to live a good life and to treat other people as human beings just like we are. Thank you for instructions, words, and rules. You prepared a good path for me in life. Whatever they gave us, whatever the elders gave us, stories through stories or instructions, it was always to help us to look after each other, look after our brothers and sisters, look after um, people in general, because we were to treat each other as human beings, and uh, treat other people the way you like to be treated, with respect and direction, and people talking to you and instruct you. If you misbehave, uncle or aunt will tell you, don't do that, you might hurt yourself. So always with instructions and words, to help us prepare ourselves in life. That's the communication we get from our elders and our grandparents. Thank you for being my grandparent. With unconditional love, you taught me to love others. Some of you grew up with your grandparents. Some of you spend time with your grandparents. You know what that unconditional love is. It's love that no matter what you do, whether you make a mistake or not, grandmothers talk to you with love, and that unconditional love that helps you to, um, you know, always look forward to spending that time with the grandparents, because that unconditional love is like a love that we needed as we grew up. That's the thing they shared freely and with instructions and guidance always, because they loved us. Just like our parents are taught, if you're talking to your children, especially if you discipline and talk to your children, always end it with, because I love you, I'm talking to you, I'm instructing you, I'm telling you not to do these things because you're going to hurt yourself. The reason why I'm talking to you is that I want you to have a good future, a good life in your life. So always with instructions and guidance, because they've lived that road before, and they knew how to guide us in things that we needed to do in life. Thank you for okay, I already did, sorry. Thank you for your wisdom. You taught me understanding. Um, the wisdom that our grandparents have, the elders have, they grew up in life with instructions from their own grandparents and their parents, and they have those, like earlier on I talked about the necklace or the rod. These were given by their grandparents and their parents, so that they treat each other with respect. They help people that need food, or otherwise orphans or elders. They provide that food and help with wood or things because they were taught to do that in life, so that in helping, and especially an elder, the elder, when you help out an elder and provide that support that they need, they will always wish you a good life in the future and good life for your children, that our future will be good and productive because we do that. When helping them, they bless us with that. So these are things that when we hear those words, we look forward to that. If it doesn't come to us, it'll come to our children. Things that the grandparents or the elders wished us for, helping them. They they wish us good life and productive life. Always that teaching that your future will be good because you're helping people, you're feeding people, you're taking care of orphans, always with instructions that whatever we do, you know, we help somebody else with whatever the needs they have, so that the blessing of that elder will be on us or our children or our grandchildren, so that in following through with their instructions and guidance and word that they give us, or the blessing that they give us, we know that we'll have a good life in the future, or it'll be a good life for our children and our grandchildren. Always that blessing for the future of ourselves and our children. Um, Thank you for your endurance and discipline. You taught me how to survive in life. Our grandparents are guide us because they've lived that life before with a lot of discipline and guidance from their grandparents, from their parents. And if they follow through with that teaching and that guidance from their parents and grandparents, um, things in life uh, will go smoother because they listened and they were instructed to do that. So that knowledge and that gift from their grandparents, our grandparents passed that on to us, their children or grandchildren, they passed that on to us. So, and they always wish that we'll have a smooth life because we listen to their instructions, we listen to their teachings, so that our path will be in a good way because we're already given that guidance from our elders. They always wish us good when we spend time with them. Most of all, thank you for your prayers to protect me from harm. You know, our elders, today, even with this coronavirus, we have prayer warriors, that's our elders. You know, they pray for us, they pray for our future, they pray for everybody, even throughout this um, coronavirus that we're going through. I know that there's many elders out there praying that we survive through this situation, and that whatever we're going through, it'll come out for good, because their prayers are with us, always with um, um, asking the Creator to help us. Their prayers are powerful. That's why you'll notice, if you've raised your child with a grandmother or grandparents, you know, the child will be calmer, the child will listen, because they've spent time with their elders, and the elders always have calming effect on people. You know, throughout our trainings, throughout my training and our trainings in Yukon Kuskokwim area, we started to involve our elders in our trainings, because we needed the guidance in a good way to work out what's best for people in their community, in their homes, so that from the teaching of elders, we wanted to pass that on, so that, you know, uh, people will start living in harmony, just like they did in the past life with their grandparents and their people. Um, my appa always talked about that in the stories that he tells. Even the person that uh, um, commit a crime in a community, the people love that person so much, they'll bring him into a kazakh setting or the Saat setting to correct and talk and guide that person, to bring him back into the community, and they'll always end there in confronting or uh, talking to that person, always ended like they taught us to do when we instruct and guide our children, always end our guidance, our talk to them, and let them know, because I love you, I'm talking to you. Because I love you as a human being, I'm disciplining you, or I'm uh, bringing things that will be helpful to you. Now it's time for you to listen to those and put to practice what you've learned from the people that care for you. So our elders, always with guidance, always wishing us well in our lives, always wishing that our home life or our future will go in a good way. That's why they talk to us and they instruct us, and especially their disciplinary talks to us. I know my grandmother always told me, the reason why I'm talking to you and it feels like it's scolding you is because I love you. I don't want anything bad to happen to you. So always with these kinds of guidance and instructions. That's why I have lot. I have a lot more things that I still need to work on in the tribute to the elders, because they have our history, they have our family tree, because they want us to be connected with people, other family members that are related to us, even through namesake. Maybe we're named after a daughter or son of our neighbor family. Maybe that person has passed on, and the name we carry it, so that that connection always there. guiding us and talking to us. So we'll be connected with other people. So we never feel alone. Um, you know, always connect. Their thought is to connect us with people, connect us with relatives, connect us with godparents, connect us with other people, the namesake families that are like our extended families. So always uh, trying to help us to connect with people, connect with others, connect with their creator, because that's the way they lived their past life, and they want us to carry it on the way they did. And that's what gave them a long life and good life to guide us later. So those are the teachings and the instructions, and that's why um, it's important that we recognize them and let them hear, we heard you. I know you're guiding me because you wanted me to be connected with people, and to be instructed not only by my parents, but my uncles and aunts. My auntie used to tell me things, that if I misbehaved, my auntie would just talk to me. You might hurt yourself. Don't do that. The reason why I'm telling you is because I love you. Even uncles and aunts do that because they got the instruction from their elders. The next part, excuse me, I'm going to drink water. My throat. The next part I'm going to share is tribute to the parents, our parents. Because we also need to recognize and help our parents with what they're doing in helping us to live a good life, or guide us, or teach us how to prepare food, or young men how to hunt and be out there in the wilderness, so that the wilderness and the outside is healthy for the young men, to take care of themselves, to take care of their emotions, to take care of um, themselves, so that uh, they won't create problems for themselves or their families. Um, Even the elders, I forgot about mention, our elders teach us, always teach us, you're standing up for your families. Be careful what you do. You're standing up for your parents. Live a good life and show that to other people. Um, don't bring uh, bad news because of your actions, because you're representing your parents. Because the elders say, people will say that the parents don't talk to that person. Look at the way they behave. That's what the elders are aware of. That if our parents never talk to us or instruct us or guide us, it'll show up later on with our behavior, or our attitude. And so the next part is tribute to the parents. Thank you for loving and nurturing me. You taught me to be trusting and loving to others. Um, we learn how to trust, and we learn how to trust people because we were taken care of, we were fed, we were clothed, we were taken care of and instructed by our parents. And because of their nurturing and their loving, that will help us to learn their way of uh, taking care of children when we have our own children, because of their instructions and the way they took care of us. Thank you for Uh, Thank you for keeping me safe and warm. You taught me security in life. You know, our parents, our dads go out hunting. They got game, they got food, they got wood. They brought things from the outside to help us to be fed, to keep warm, to be uh, dressed, clothed. And our moms and our aunties took care of the game that was brought in by our dads after hunting. You know, we're taught as women, when a man brings home game, always take care of it right away. Uh, you know, clean it, put it away in that way, and don't let whatever is brought home go to waste, because we'll discourage our partners if we do that. You so our parents are the ones that show us these things, you know. So uh, the way they kept us safe, and the way they kept us warm, you know, um, clothing us, talking to us, telling us to be careful. If somebody picks on us, don't stay with that situation. Get away from it. Protect yourself. Um, don't create fire that's already built by being there. Get away from it. You know, don't be part of the problem. Get away from the situation. That's what our parents and our grandparents teach us, is that we don't create conflicts with other people. Even when we were small, my grandmother, when she dresses me, that's what she used to talk to me and instruct me. Now, if you when you go out and play, be kind to your peers, love your peers, play together. Don't don't fight over each other, you know. And if somebody picks on you, don't stay with the situation. Get away from it, so you won't, you know, make the fire bigger. What the way they taught, you know, always to protect ourselves and protect other people. So the instructions are passed on to our parents, and our mom or dad will instruct us the way they were taught by their parents also. Thank you for your patience and long suffering. You taught me to endure life journey. Um, our parents, you know, they helped each other. Like when that dad brings home the game, everything is taken care of, everything is put away, everything is cleaned, cut up, put away for future use. The wood that's brought home by the dad, you know, long the cold winter, long time ago, they used to go out by dog team and bring home wood so that the family will keep warm. You know, that will be kept safe and warm. Um, lot of endurance and long suffering that our parents went through to raise us. You know, that's like a preparation for us to watch and learn from them. The way they took care of each other, the way they took care of the household, or the game that was brought in, and the wood that was brought in, even when it was really cold and storming out, they had to do that so that our homes will be warm, our homes will be comfortable to be in. um, in that's why today, even our teachings, the man's healing will come from nature. From if you can't talk to anyone, go out to nature, talk it out, cry it out, yell it out, whatever you need to do, take it out to the the wind to take your problem or hurt or pain, take it out and talk it out so that it isn't brought home and creating problems at home, or the arguments at home, or the verbal abuse at home. Take it out, take it out, because nature and life outdoors is for a man to take care of themselves, to heal through whatever their situation is. Go among the trees, cry it out. My Appa Peter Jacob used to say, it's time to hear the stories of our people. And that's what he meant. Ways that they help themselves, then we need to learn what those were and pass it on to other people. They told us man's healing is outdoors, nature, water has energy to take away stress and whatever thing you're going through. Go to the water, brush yourself with the water. The energy of water will bring healing to you, your mind and your body. So even us women, we like to spend time. I like to spend time uh, by water, going out in water and uh, walking the water and brushing myself. So nature is healing. And we know that springtime, now it's springtime, it's time to be outdoors, the whole family, berry picking, uh, um, uh, 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 rod and reeling, fishing, you know, that we're going to bring back to our families and feed our families. We're going to bring back the berries, so we'll celebrate it for ourselves and other people. Um, bring back the berries and the fish, so we'll prepare it and bring some to elders, share it with the elders, always with instructions to take care of yourself and other people. When we do that, when we do that, especially with elders, again, I talk about elders, our grandparents, and elders in our communities. When we bring food and things that they might need, we a lot of us used to think, if I bring this, maybe they'll give me money. That was never a teaching for us when we were growing up. We were always taught to help elders and orphans, take care of them as a community. That's who we took care of too, the elders and the orphans, people with that have no help or can't get gather for themselves. uh, us people and us young people in the community, we're there to help those people, um, the elders and the orphans. So thank you for knowing me, keeping me fit and clothing me. You taught me to be modest. So this is for parents. Our clothing, our food that's nurturing for our body, and the way keeping us modest with clothing that they help us to put on. And that's what parents do, our uncles and aunts do, so that you know we're being helped as we learn from them and watching them and uh, uh, learning from them. So these are things that our parents do. They keep us fit and they keep us clothed. So that's why I put that as keeping us fit, warm, and also modest. Thank you for the discipline and instructions you taught me to be obedient. Um, our instructions from our grandparents, our instructions from our parents, our instructions from our uncles and aunts. Um, they instruct us to behave. They instruct us to be kind to our peers. They instruct us to be obedient to our parents or people that need help, so that um, will be taken care of, because um, we're listening to their discipline or their instructions to us and carrying it on. They taught us these things so that when we get our own children, we'll know how to do that also with our children and our nieces and nephews. So that always instructions from one generation to another all the way down, so that we'll know how to live, because we were taught people by people that have already lived, our elders. Then our parents are also, our uncles and aunts are also instructing us, always with the instructions, because all these people that are passing this on to us teach us and talk to us, because they love us, always with the instructions, so that we'll know how to live our own lives when we're on our own too. Thank you for taking time to teach me to wash dishes, sew skin, and of skin of an animal. You taught me life skills. Our um, our moms teach us how to sew. Maybe a grandmother will also teaches women to sew. Um, so that we can create something to make somebody happy, always with that intention, to bring a smile or gratefulness for that person that we're doing this for. So helping others, clothing others, taking care of others, taking care of ourselves. We always had instructions how to prepare food, how to make something out of a animal skin, you know, for ourselves, for other people, because if we do something for another person, we make them glad, we make them grateful, we make them feel good. That's the whole purpose of why we're taught these things, so that we're helping ourselves and we're helping other people. Thank you for modeling to me how to raise your children. You taught me to care for others. Our parents are our teachers. Children, some of them have, in my mom and dad's generation, there were 8, 9, 10 children in their homes. And in my family, there was 10 of us children, and each of us were talked to or instructed or guided by our parents, grandparents, uncles and aunts. If sometimes maybe my brother got into trouble, my dad will ask an uncle, um, can you talk to um, Joe, take him out hunting, instruct him. So sometimes even our parents ask for help from our uncles and aunts or our grandparents, how to instruct us and guide us with things that maybe we got into trouble with. Those are the kinds of things, if we've been raised that way, we remember that. And then when we get our own children, if we need help, we can reach out to someone that will help us to instruct or guide our own children. So in that way, we're not trying to struggle with the situation ourselves. We have help, our uncles and aunts, our grandparents, or a counselor, um, or someone that's taught how to instruct children. So things that will be helpful, we take that into consideration, and how they taught or how they talk to children, we take that and practice it in our own homes. One of the things that was helpful for me, because I was raised in the mission since I was 7 years old, and the way we were uh, taken care of, if we got into trouble, we got punished uh, with that, and I needed to change that way of uh, uh, um, being with my own children, and not to repeat what I went through with the adults that in that part of life. And so what many of us in this type of training that we went through, many of us, we had to ask for help from people that dealt with children, or how to instruct their own children and not punish them all the time. So because that was a turn off for many of us, that were, for me, it was a turn off when I grew up in the mission, the way the adults disciplined someone that got into trouble. And I didn't want to repeat some of those things that were um, directed to me in that situation. I had to talk to I had to talk to a grandmother, um, about the way my daughter and I, um, when she started to do her own thing, and I was scared of what was happening, but the way I dealt with it was we did a lot of screaming and yelling, and I finally had to give up and ask a grandmother, from one of the villages. I asked her, how do I instruct my child not to do what she's doing, because she's making me scared and afraid for her. I don't want her to repeat some of the things I went through, because I didn't have guidance in that area. I didn't know how to parent. I didn't know how to talk to my child. And that grandmother, I'm always grateful, and I thank her. She's in the spirit world now. I'm always grateful for that grandmother. She said, you shut your mouth. Before you do that, you talk to your daughter. We can't talk now because we're not hearing each other. We're yelling. So she said, you close your mouth and tell your daughter, I'll talk to you later. I can't talk to you now because I'm yelling and you're yelling and we can't hear each other. When she first died, when that elder woman told me I had to do that, I got defensive, but I went home and that's what I repeated to my daughter. I said, I can't talk to you now. We're yelling at each other and I can't hear you. I imagine you can't hear me either because we're screaming and yelling at each other. And what the elders instruct you to do it, because it'll work out best for you. I guarantee you, it'll work out for the best for you and people that you're involved with. Their instructions are real. Their instructions are good for you and good for the whole situation when you're trying to correct them, because they won't tell you, an elder won't tell you what to do that's wrong. They'll tell you what's going to help you and then help your interaction with your family if you follow through with their instructions. And so even as a parent, sometimes we have to go back to our own parents or an elder and find out how to change a situation and follow through with their instructions, because what they instruct, they do it because it's best for you and your family. So that's what I like to share of one of the things that happened in our personal life. So then thank you for your prayers. You taught me to trust in my Creator. Our parents are always praying for us, always asking the Creator to take care of us. And because of that, um, we are helped. I know that we're helped because of the prayers of our parents and our elders. Today, the coronavirus, I know that people are being helped because there's many elders out there. There are prayer warriors, even children. If we teach our children to pray, their prayers are pure, their prayers are honest, and their prayers go straight to the Creator. The children's prayers are pure and they're honest if we taught them as a child to pray. So, like the instructions and the guidance from our parents, they pray and they pray for us, and they also pray for their grandchildren. So, when we teach our children to pray, their prayers are honest, their prayers are pure, their prayers are very strong. Um, so, um, so that even the prayer of a child can bring healing to a family. So that's the part of the power of prayer. We have to teach it even to our children and our grandchildren in their own way to pray and to pray for people. Um, the, uh, if you have prayer warriors in your home, children, you've got it, mate, along with the elder and the family that prays together stays together. That's saying that we've heard before. Now, the most important thing also, tribute and teaching, that we need to know that even our children can be our help. Even our children can teach us things that we don't know. My daughter's good at computer and things, and sometimes she teaches me things that I don't know. She's progressing good in her line of work because she studies and she keeps herself, um, you know, um, knowing what she needs to do in the line of work that she does. So the youth today are very intelligent. They're very smart. They are going to be our future leaders. So we need to guide them and also introduce them to an elder so they'll be in tune with adults and elders. That that line needs to be there to help even our children. So tribute to the youth. Let me take a breather and drink water. If you need to go bathroom, you can do it now. I need a little breather for now.
Thank you, Liz. Yes, drink some water, have some
Yeah, I'll do the
coffee,
youth.
take a
Mhm.
stretch.
Yep. Brush yourselves off. Let the wind take it away. If you've had a stressful morning, just brush it off. Take it off. Let the wind take it away to where it's not going to touch anyone. Take care of yourself that way. Go to the city dump and holler. No, just kidding.
No, do it.
Not now, later maybe. I'll tell a story about that later.
Sorry about that. A few minutes ago before you ended, your audio kind of cut out a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Am I on now?
No, you're still on.
Oh,
There's someone from St. Michael wrote a few
okay,
times your
okay.
audio broke. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes Liz's internet connection goes in and out. But
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Okay, is everybody back?
Your internet went out again.
You drink water, you brush yourself off, you feel you're we're ready to start again.
Yes.
Tribute to the youth. Our youth are our future leaders. That's why we need to guide them and be with them in times of their um, um, growing up. Talk to them, instruct them, guide them, pray with them, introduce them to an elder, um, keep them safe, keep them warm, um, you know, have them help you so they'll know how to do things on their own. So tribute to the youth. Thank you for your energy. You taught me to keep on task even when times seem hard. Um, the energy of the youth, you know, um, sometimes it's fast for us. Sometimes it's fun for us. Sometimes we need to keep up with them. Sometimes we need to join in their fun, let them know we're human, and laugh with them, you know, be part of us, we be part of them. Um, there's one time when my daughter was in school, she said, Mom, um, we're gonna have family night at the school and we're gonna have dance. And said, we're to invite our parents. So I said, oh, okay. And so I prepared and got ready. It was Friday evening that we're going to have this gathering with the youth in the school. And on the way up to the school, my daughter said, Mom, even if anybody asks you to dance, please don't dance. I said, um, I call her by name and I said, why? If somebody asks me, I'm not going to embarrassing them. I'm not going to embarrass them and say no. I'll just go up and do my thing. I said, okay, then, she was more embarrassed for me to do the dancing than, and she asked me, uh, not to make a fool of myself, maybe. So when we went to the dance, when we went to the gathering, it was fun to be there. The energy of the youth was making your energy want to do things with them. So there was the dance, and one young man came up to me and said, uh, "Go dance with them," and then I danced with them, and um, my daughter said her team crew said, "Wow, your mom knows how to dance." And she had to think about what she said on the way to going up and telling me not to dance with anyone. And she said, "Your mom is cool. She knows how to dance." So sometimes you have to take part in even youth activities, um, as best as you can, or try to keep up with some of their activities, so that they make you feel welcome. You make them feel welcome. That's what you need to do with youth, just to find out where your child is among other young people. So it's good to spend time with youth too. Find out where they're at, what they do, have them teach you some of the things that you don't know how with the electrical things. I didn't know what Wi-Fi was for a long time. 5-year-old told me, "That's to get your your iPad working. If you have Wi-Fi at your home." Where? He said, "Just have to have Wi-Fi. You have to know there's a Wi-Fi in your." I didn't know what that was for a long time till a 5-year-old told me. So children are smart, children are intelligent, children are observant, and they learn from us too, from their parents or other people. So we have to be careful of how we're raising our children or how we talk to our children. So these are tributes to the youth. Thank you for your personality. You help me to respect people people as individuals. Um, so each child is unique. Each child is special. They have their own gifts and talents, and we have to um, uh, be with them or watch them sometimes, so that we can help them to develop their uniqueness, um, what they're good at, and guide them, and uh, tell them to keep up the good work that they're doing. Sometimes school and find out how's my child doing in school. Where do they need help? Um, where can I get the help that they need to put their grades up? So these things, we have to be involved with young people of what they're doing, and watch your child, how they act or how they behave. And if they're doing something good for somebody, let them know, "I like the way you handle that situation with that young person. I like the way you talk to them. You didn't tell them, 'Get away from me,' but you instructed them and guided them. I like what you do." Um, so thank you for being truthful with your opinions. You help me to be honest. Um, young people have opinions. Young people have ideas. Young people have things sometimes that even as adults don't even think about. Today's world, our young people are smart. They're intelligent young people. They're gifted. The gift part, we have to watch and observe our children, because some of them are gifted as healers, some of them are gifted as a spokesperson, some of them are gifted as um, doing machine work or doing computer work. They're intelligent today. if you notice that your child is gifted, um, gifted, uh, nurture them, talk to them, let them know that's a gift from the Creator, that you use it in a good way, not to hurt other people, but in a good way. Because sometimes in the line of our families, we have traditional healers, and sometimes that gift is passed on down to the children or grandchildren. And if we know that that child is gifted, talk to them. Always tell them to thank the Creator for that gift, to make somebody feel better working on them. Always tell them to ask the Creator to help you through that gift so that they don't get confused. Unfortunately, today, many of our young people are confused because there's no instructions from adults, there's no nurturing, there's no guidance. So a lot of our young people are confused today. We need to help them out of that. We need to nurture, we need to mentor, we need to guide our young people because their gift can help us in the future. Their gift can help many people because some of our children are gifted healers. Some of our children are good in machine work or things that will be helpful for themselves or their families. That's why we need to observe and talk to them and instruct them. If we don't know as parents, let their child know, I don't know how to do that. Can you teach me? And it takes, both ways to learn something um, that I might not know, that my child might know, and we talk about it and we communicate and talk to each other about that situation. In that way, you're being there to guide your child, and then your child is there to teach you about something you might not understand and know how to do. So it goes, the guidance and the teaching goes both ways today with our young people, because many of our young people are gifted. I had a experience when I was working for Yukon Kuskokwim Health Corporation many years ago. I came home from evening session someplace, and there was a young little boy on the steps of where I live, and I asked that, it was in the evening, getting dark, and I said, "Where's your home?" And he told me, third road someplace, and said, "Why aren't you home?" I had to run away because my parents are drunk and they're fighting. And my heart just ached. And I said, "Come up to my dirty, really poor little boy was really dirty." And um, so I brought him to my apartment, and I had him change his clothes with my child's clothing, and I washed his clothes, and I fed the child, and I said, "Do your parents always drink like this?" He said, "On weekends. They always drink on weekends." So I let that child sleep over at my home, and I found out things that were troublesome. Um, and I told that child, if that happens again, you're free to come to my home. My home is a safe place to be. And he said, yeah. But so sometimes we need to take the initiative to care for people that are not doing so well in their homes or in situations, and we need to find the uh, uh, adults that will take care of the situation. So that's what that's something I had to do because of that young child. Um, Even that action, like our elders and our teachers say, even that action has a reward in the future for myself or my children. Even that action, when we do something good for even a child, uh, that good will be rewarded for myself or my children in the future. That's the teaching of our elders. Thank you for being truthful with your opinions. You help me to be honest. Um, Young people have opinions too, and you know, they need us adults to hear them out sometimes. They just need to hear them. They just need to have them, have us hear them out, because sometimes if we don't listen to them, and if we don't listen to their opinions and guide them uh, with what they need to do, they might turn to the wrong person, and that person that they're turning to might do more harm than helping that child. So we need to help them out, um, help them out and guide them through the situation. If we can't help them, find somebody that can help that person, um, to work through their situation or their opinion. If it's, especially if it's harmful or hurtful, um, find that help for that young person. Thank you for being accepting. You taught me to be forgiving. Um, you know, the young people are very accepting, um, and we need to, sometimes we need to learn from them. Um, you know, they can help us to be, they can help us in some situation that we might need help, because sometimes they had to work through a situation with the help of other young people, and got out of the troublesome situation because they sought help. And sometimes they can help us, even us adults, if we're there to listen to them and guide them. Thank you for taking my work. Thank you for taking my words so literally. You help me to be careful of what I say to young people. Um, when we're with young people, we have to be careful uh, with our own words too. If, if we're talking to young people, we have to be careful. Um, they've heard all kinds of things when they're out there. So when they're with us, we have to, we ourselves as their parents or their adults, we have to be careful of what we say. Always try to listen and come up with helpful ways to instruct that young person, to guide that young person, to help out that young person. You know, so thank you for seeing everything as adventure. You help me to see things in a new light. Young people are creative. Young people are, they see things differently than sometimes even their own parents. And so they bring in new ideas. They have eyes for colors. They have eyes for beauty, and they'll bring that in with them. They'll bring that in. If we listen to them, they'll make you think of things, or bring you back to a remembers when you were young, because they're able to still talk about that. It's fresh in their minds, and it's colorful and it's bright. So um, you know, their way of thinking. If we spend time with them, it'll be helpful in your own life. I love to be with young people. Um, uh, when I was working, that's one of the things, most important things, is that I went to many uh, uh, summer camps with youth because I love to spend time with them. I love to listen to them. I love to get ideas from them how to bring it home and uh, teach it to my own child or young people. So that's the kind of thing that they provide us, that they have adventure. They're adventurous. You know, they they can teach us things that maybe we might not think of how to best help another young person.
Hey,
Thank you for being.
Liz,
Mhm.
can you
Yeah.
fix your mic, please? Your mic on your face. Pull it
Oh,
away
okay.
from. Yeah.
Okay. There.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry. Okay. My hand pressed on it. Thank you for being a daughter or son, because you taught me to be young at heart. Youth have that gift to give us older people. Sometimes we feel old because we're young people, and be there with them in person sometimes. They can feel that you can feel energy from them, to be playful, to be there with them in person. They can teach you and give you remembers of what it used to be like when you were young, when, especially when it was a good life when you were young. And their creativity, their ideas, their stories are fun to listen to, because they can give you ideas of how to best help other young people, and even yourself, even to bring it home and use that at home. They have that way of demonstrating a new idea and use it to be helpful for themselves and other people. Um, that's why we need to be there to guide them, because their gifts and their talents will be useful in the future when they lead us, when they are in the leadership positions. It'll be helpful for us to be there to spend time with them, because their ideas and their gifts and their opinions are sometimes a lot more helpful than some of our own ideas. Maybe we're old fashioned, but to listen to youth, young people. Um, Fortunately, there was an experience where a principal in one of the schools that I travel to, in the line of work that I do, the principal gave the students assignment to do a history, and to find out the history of their village, to find out to visit with the elders with stories about that village, to find out from their parents how they got to that village. And that was the blessing. I always think of that principle, and I thanked him very much, because I was there. That was my village where I was born. That they did that to the young people. They went to their elders. They went to their parents. They went to their grandparents. They developed even a video of the old village and the new village, and all the stories they did in that, uh, brought all those stories from their parents and their grandparents, and learned the old fashioned dance, uh, epic dance, and brought it to that gathering when they presented their histories, storytelling. um, back to the school and the community. And I was invited to that community. Um, we had to do presentations in that community, but the young people presented there, and they helped many elders. They helped their own parents. They helped their uncles and aunts and the people of the community when they did the history of that uh, community. And they even honored the veterans or the people that have been in the service. And when I found out for the first time, when I found out my uncle and my grandfather and my dad, my grandpa, and one of my other uncles were territorial guards uh, back early on, and I didn't never knew that, but they had ribbons, pole with the ribbons with all the territorial guards and the army and navy and all people that had been in the service right in the middle of the community hall. And that was the best presentation those young people presented. And even their stories from their grandparents or elders, they had it in tape recorder. They even made a little video of the old village and the new village, and when that new village came into being. And and I saw that in the old village, I saw um, my grandparents and my parents' old houses. And that was so touching, and so I was so grateful that I was part of that presentation. It was done so well, and they got graded. All the students that took part in that history making of that village, they got graded for that too. They got rewarded big time with the state, because some of the state people were even there for the young people to present the history of the community. So young people have ideas, young people have things to have us learn as adults. Some people have gifts and ideas and opinions that can help us even as adults if we hear them out, if we listen to them. And there one big thing was that those young people were so grateful to have spent time with elders and recording them and hear their stories. And so I honored that principal for what he did, and the community people recognized him and as the best principal they had in all the school years they've had. So that was a gift for myself and other people from that community. Beautiful thing that those young people were able to do and present it back to the community people. A lot of people, even some of the elders, were in tears with the stories that they heard that brought back memories of their life when when that community became a village, and the new village also. They saw their family members. Um, they saw their own grandparents in the old pictures that were presented by the youth. So when we when we honor youth, they have a story to tell us. They have something to teach us also. You know, they have they have ideas that maybe we never thought of as something that's going to help our future also. So from that uh, from that presentation in that whole community gathering, a lot of people were grateful for what those school young people did. Um, so those are the kinds of things when we spend time or give young people permission to do something for their community or something to do for their families. they'll do things that we'll remember. We'll have reminiscence of something that happened in the past. We'll be gifted with some other things that maybe we'd forgotten if we give the youth permission to tell a story, because they also have stories to tell. Thank you for being wise in your small ways. You help me to respect you. So youth, their stories and their just being youth and being able to teach us things. You know, they'll be our teachers too. Even like little child can be a teacher for us adults. Um, you know, sometimes a child will just cry and just like that child is in pain and just cry, and next minute they're laughing and running around. You know, those children, how they can turn a hurt and cry it out and let it out, and next minute they're playful, they're having fun. They're teachers for us. They don't have to hold anything hurtful a long time. They can let it out, they can cry it out. They can be our teachers, for because us adults, we like to hold it in and hold it in and hold it in. Sometimes holding it in does more harm to us than what that child can do. They can be our teachers. That's why when elders tell us, go out to nature, go near the water, brush yourself off, get up in the morning. Before you do anything, go out the door and brush yourself off. You don't want to carry disease or bad thoughts or bad dream or anything from the day before, or start your new day in anything that's negative. Brush it off, get it out outside. My grandmother used to do that every morning. Brush herself off, go out the door and brush off herself outdoors. You know, things that we can do, um, and so that maybe we can be as a small child that's able to let go of their hurts and pains right now, cry it out, and next minute we'll be okay. You know, they can be our teachers too. Most of all, thank you for listening to to your parents. You taught me to respect my parents. Um, when we have the youth that are taught by their parents to listen and to follow through where their instructions with their from their parents, that makes them feel that makes them uh, the parents feel good to have that, you know, that child is mine. They listen, they follow through with my instructions, so that what I taught, what I taught them, they'll be able to carry it on with their own children someday. So those things that were taught from our elders, from our parents, from our uncles and aunts, um, as youth, we'll learn these and we'll be able to carry them on with our own families someday when we have partners and children. So everything that we're taught from our elders, from our parents, and from the youth is always with instructions how to have a good life and how to treat other people as human beings as we go on, because we listened, we followed through, and we carried on what we were instructed to do, what we were taught to do. The best way to treat something that is unpleasant, how to teach our children to pray, how to um, um, instruct and teach our youth to be human beings and to treat other people as human beings and to respect elders because they taught us things that they've gone through, the mistakes they've gone through. They have our history, they have our stories, they have our they they're giving us a pathway that is supposed to be very helpful for us if we listen and follow through. So these are the things that have been passed on from the elders to the parents, to the uncles and aunts, and now to the young people and children. Tributes to uh, elders, parents, and youth. Anyone here have any questions or comments about what's been shared with?
Hi, Liz.
Hi.
Someone from Bethel. Do you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, am
Yeah,
I too loud?
yeah, I hear you.
um, they said what stood out to them was kids and teachers. I like the explanation that children cry and then they laugh. Unlike adults who might hold things in, it is good to find ways to brush it off. Talk about
I
things
can't
for
hear
healthy
whoever's
answers.
talking.
It's me, Liz Amelia.
Mike,
So just to let everyone know,
someone had a question from Bethel.
no, someone
Oh,
just wrote a comment.
oh,